Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Sean Con YouTube channel. Today what we're doing is we're putting a snorkel kit on this 2021 Polaris Rzr Pro XP. It's a 925cc single turbo machine. So from the factory it comes with a decent setup as far as like snorkel, but the belt exhaust is really low. I'll show you guys where the belt exhaust is on this. That's going to be the main thing that we're going to be focusing on getting up. But we're also going to snorkel the air intake, and then we're going to put a different pipe for the belt box intake. So there's a total of 3 different things that we need to snorkel. So we'll have 3 snorkel tubes on this machine, and we'll have 3 different vent lines that we have to run up. So we have a vent line for the front differential, we have a vent line for the fuel tank, the gas tank, and then we have a vent line for the transmission in the rear diff. It's kind of all together as one, I'm pretty sure. But so we got 3 hoses and then 3 pipes that we're going to be adding, and we have a bracket. So I'll show it all to you guys. All right, anybody doing a snorkel kit on the Polaris Rzr Pro XP, I recommend going with Dig Rig. They have a adapter for the belt exhaust that you can use. You don't have to buy the whole kit from them. You can, but if you're like me and you kind of want to get it set up how you want it, I would recommend going with Dig Rig. I'll show you guys this part. It's really nice. All right, so here's the piece I was recommending that you guys get from Dig Rig. This basically goes on top of the belt box where the exhaust goes. So it'll poke out like this, and this gives you a piece to add a 3-inch pipe, whatever kind of pipe you want to use, and run the snorkel however you want to. So you see this is the belt intake right here. So I'm not going to really do anything crazy with this other than change the pipe at the top, because I'm going to remove this box. I need to free up some space. So I will run this up. I'll put some type of material over the snorkel for that, so it's getting clean, relatively clean air into the belt box, and then I'll run up a pipe next to it using this for the belt exhaust. So on this Rzr Pro XP, the one thing that's nice is the bed comes out super easy. One thing that's horrible is there is no like holes for this to drain, so it's basically like a pool back here. Really dumb thing. I don't know why Polaris did this, but it's nice when you want to work on the machine. You just take off all these around here and this whole thing lifts up. So let me go ahead and take that bad boy out. All right, she's out. So it was actually only 4 of these. So maybe I won't drill holes in it, because you can literally just take it out and clean it off real easy. And then hopefully that'll keep you from getting all this dirty. But yeah, so this is what we're looking at right here. I don't know if you need to remove this to do this or not, but I did just for peace of mind. So you can see that bad 925cc motor. It actually looks really small in here. And then you see that little baby turbo up in the front. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead. Here is the charge pipe right here. I'm going to move that out of the way, and this is where the thing's going to be going, is somewhere over here. So let's go ahead and get it. All right, so when you go to put this piece on, you're going to have to remove the OEM belt box exhaust piece. It goes right up on top of there. So it's held in by 2 bolts. This is what it looks like. So there's 2 bolts on the front, and there's like 2 slots on the back. So you'll have to unbolt those 2 bolts, and you'll have to move some stuff out of the way in order to get this out. So what I ended up doing was I unhooked this charge pipe. I just unhooked it here. It is held on by a T-bolt clamp, so I loosened that. I disconnected a couple different wires, and you're going to have to unbolt this fuel line. So there's a bracket that's on this fuel line, and then the bolt goes up into the frame from the bottom. So you'll have to unbolt that and then remove the bracket. You will not be reusing the bracket, so don't reuse the bracket. You can go ahead and take it off. When you run this fuel line, actually to get this piece off, you also have to undo that fuel line where it hooks up over here. So a couple electrical connections you have to unhook. You have to unhook this this charge pipe or intercooler pipe, intake pipe, whatever you want to call it, and unbolt these 2 bolts, and you'll be able to move it out of the way. So with the new piece, you can kind of see it'll go and it'll cover that. So you want to get in here and clean this real well. That's good enough for me. And then the part comes with this, I would guess it's probably just like silicone or something like that. So it comes with that, and you basically are going to put that on around it and seal it up where this piece meets the top of the belt box. So get it real clean before you put this on. So you will put this on, and then those two bolts that you removed will bolt up. You see right there on the front, you've got those two different bolt holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this piece in there right now with some of this silicone stuff, whatever it is. I assume it's silicone. And let this sit. I'm gonna let this sit for about 24 hours before I start hooking up pipes and moving this thing around, because I want to have a good seal and I don't want it, you know, the seal getting broken and having to take all this stuff apart again. All right, boys, I've got these snorkels in already. So I've got this snorkel rigged up right here for this is the belt exhaust right here, the belt box exhaust. This is the belt box intake. So for the belt box intake, all I did was cut a piece of 3-inch pipe. So you have to tighten that coupler a lot. The coupler that's on the end of this is the OEM hose that comes for the belt box intake. So you take a piece of 3-inch hose, kind of fill this little gap right here, and then hook it to I guess that's like a 90 degree elbow. And that's good like that. You can run it, run it to the center if you want. I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. But I am going to put a filter on the end of that. So like, I'm going to put a little piece of pipe here and then hook it to a filter. So I'll show you the filter that I'm going to be using. I am using this right here. It has an adapter to a 3-inch pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there, and that'll be nice because it'll keep a lot of that dust out of my belt box. So, because the air gets sucked in here, goes into the belt box, and then it gets pushed out through the exhaust. So I don't need a filter for the exhaust, but I'm putting one on the intake. And I'm also going to be putting a filter on the air intake over here for the air box for the motor. So there's already a filter in here, but from the factory, you've got this like screen on the air intake that kind of like keeps some of the dust out. So I'm going to be putting a filter over that to keep some of the dust out, to keep this filter from getting all dirty. And also on this on the air box, I will be sealing it with Flex Seal, kind of like silicone RTV. So I'm going to take this cover off, and I'm going to put a thin coat all the way around and put that on there, because I like to seal that. I don't want to get any water in the motor, and it's not that hard to take off even with the silicone on there. Now for the belt box, I don't like to do that because got to change this, on the side of the trailer or something like that. I'd rather just be able to take it off, change the belt, and keep riding. So for this, I'll show you what I'm going to use to seal this. So I use this right here. It's marine grease. You can buy this at any auto parts store. It's supposed to keep water out. I just put a thin coat around the entire outside of the cover, in between the cover and the backside. So around there, and then put it back on. For the blow-off valve, I have one of the blow-off valves that vents to atmosphere, so it's one of the really loud ones. So instead of this filter, I'm going to take this filter off. I'm going to run a hose up, because like where this sits down here on the side-by-side, kind of back in there. And this could potentially go underwater where it is right there, and I don't want water getting into here, getting into the blow-off valve, getting into any of the intercooler piping or anything like that. So I'm going to connect I'm going to leave this in position like under there, but I'm going to run a hose up for the vent right here. So where it vents to atmosphere, I'm going to run the hose up and put this filter at the end of the hose. So to get that hose right there, all you have to do is go to any like auto parts store, ask to go and look at their radiator hoses, and a lot of times they'll have where you can cut it by the foot. I got 5 feet. I doubt I'll use 5 feet, but I wanted to go ahead and get enough, and I'm going to basically run it up kind of somewhere around here, put it up somewhere around here, so that it stays high and dry. So I might put it in the cab just because it'd be stupid loud in the cab, and I kind of want to hear what it sounds like in the cab. And then what you boys will need right here is a lot of zip ties, because once we get all this stuff together, we gotta zip tie it. So I got this like cement stuff. I'm gonna be taking the snorkel that I built. I used a bunch of like 45-degree little bends and pipes and stuff, and I kind of rigged this thing up. So I'm gonna take it off, and I'm gonna put some of that cement in between there, so it kind of hardens up and seals that thing, so I don't get any water in through there. And yeah, that should be that. well, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on it, and I will pop back. All right, guys, so this is how it ended up turning out. This is how I'm gonna run it for now. So what I have is the exhaust snorkel coming up, the belt exhaust, and I have it pointing out like this because I don't want it going into this. This is the belt box intake, so I want this getting kind of like cooler, better air. So I got this blowing out here, and I got this sucking up over here. These are cheap, like $30 air filters. I just put it on here to keep the belt box from getting a bunch of crazy sand and stuff in it. And I also put one on the intake over here. Don't mind this 90. I'm gonna get a black 90, or I'm just gonna paint it. I haven't glued that side together yet. So I've got that the filter there, and then it goes down here, and it goes into the air filter box. And I've got the factory style filter in there, and then that goes down to the turbo. So overall, pretty simple setup. Pretty easy if you get this little piece right here from Dig Rig. I'll drop the link below where you can buy that thing. And this should be pretty good for me. Eventually, I might run these out to the center and up a little bit higher, center and up a little bit higher. But the thing is, my head sits right here, so I'm probably not going to be going any deeper than this right here. But I definitely want to run them over to the center. That way, in case I tip sideways in a hole, it'll be fine, hopefully, if it's in the center. So that's it right there. I've got to put all the plastics back together, put the little thing back here, the little like bed, super easy to remove, and put the dash back on because I was up here messing with the radio, switching the relays. So if you guys have this Rockford Fosgate set up with the sub and everything, you want to use number 4 for the relays because this one has more power than the others. If you have it in 5 or 6, if you go to turn it all the way up, it is going to take power out and it's going to cut your volume down and do all kinds of weird stuff. So definitely put it in slot 4. But yeah, she's coming together, boys. Next video I'm going to be doing on it is making it street legal. So I've got some blinkers to put on it. I'll probably put like some mirrors on it, some DOT tires. I have my windshield. I'll take my windshield off. It's literally just a piece of plastic. You can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, pick up a piece and cut it how you want it. But yeah, I'm gonna put the dash back on and everything. But that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe if you like this content, and let me know if you guys have any questions.